Hey guys, here we are with chapter 4, part 1. So a lot of inequality work on this one. Which is the graph of the solution set? We've got two different parts of our equation, okay? We have this piece and then we have the second half. You're gonna treat them completely separately. So the first one, if I'm solving for x, I'm gonna divide by 2 and I get x is less than -3. So I'm gonna look and see, I need a graph that shows x is less than -3. D does not show me that. The other half of it, to get x by itself, I'm gonna -4. Well, 3 minus 4 is -1. So I get x is greater than or equal to -1. Symbols don't flip or do anything crazy unless there's negatives involved. So x is greater than or equal. Remember, okay, this one is -1. And that's the only one that shows -1. I'm greater than or equal to. Just keep in mind the difference between these two. Open circle is not equal to, closed circle is equal to, okay? So remember that. Number 2, we're gonna treat a lot like just a regular linear equation. So I'm gonna follow that same mx plus b format. My y-intercept is at -3. My slope, my m value, if I pick a couple of dots on here, let's see, it looks like we're rising 1 and running 2, and that is a negative slope. So my slope is -1/2. That narrows it down to either h or j. Then you have to remember, okay, am I wanting less than that line or am I wanting greater than that line? Less than means I'm shading below my line. I guess I could have drawn the line like it actually looks. Less than means I'm shading below. Greater than mx plus b means I'm shading above the line. So that means we've got to be looking at h, okay? Number 3, we've got the cost of decorations and refreshments is $180. The ticket price is $450. They want to sell enough tickets to make at least $500. I don't know why on these. I think it's easier to start at the end. If I want to make at least $500, then I want to be greater than or equal to 500. I want 500 to be the lowest value I could possibly get. So that's going to narrow me down quite a bit. I want greater than or equal to 500. And then I've got to start looking, okay, well, tickets are $450. So I know that's where I'm getting the $450T from. And the cost of the decorations is $180. Well, if I'm talking profit, right? Because it's saying the profit of 500. Okay, I'm making $450 per whatever, but I'm not adding the cost to the decorations and refreshments. That's something I'm losing, okay? So it's got to be B. We're going to skip number 4, to be honest with you. It's way more complicated than anything we need. So let's go ahead and move on to number 5. What's the solution of the inequality? -5, 6x is greater than 30. I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit on this to narrow down my answer choices quite a bit. I'm going to treat this like a regular equation, and I'm going to pretend it's an equal sign. So I can do menu 3, 1. Remember that n solve. And I can say, okay, -5, 6 x. Now, n solve only works with equations. It doesn't work with inequalities. So I'm going to fake for a minute that said equals 30. And then remember, you have to put comma x. So that's going to tell me, okay, my answer is definitely the 36, okay? I've narrowed it down now to -36. So the question is, which way does the inequality shine? Which way does it point, okay? So if I look at this, well, really, to get rid of that -5, 6, technically what I'm doing is dividing by -5, 6, okay? But basically, when you have a negative and multiplication involved in one of these, it's going to flip that symbol around. And so now x is on the small end of the symbol. So go back and look at your notes at how those negatives behave when we have those, okay? Number 6, there's no fractions or anything, and I don't know. It's kind of fun to solve these, so I'm just going to solve this by hand. 2c minus 15 is greater than or equal to 5c minus 3. There's no distributive property happening. I do need to, it's kind of combining like terms, but they're on opposite sides of that inequality. So remember, if you're moving across the inequality, I'm going to have to do an inverse. So the inverse of 2c is minus 2c. That way it cancels out on this side. So I'm left with a negative 15 is greater than or equal to 3c, right? Subtract those, minus 3. Now it's just a basic problem, okay? I'm going to work this pretty quick. Add 3, and I get negative 12 is greater than or equal to 3c. Divide by 3, and I get negative 4 is greater than or equal to c. Now, here's where it gets kind of weird. I know it's negative 4, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the negative 6's. Yes, the symbol technically is pointing to the right. But really what you've got to look at is my variable is on the small side of that inequality. So in my answer, the variable needs to be on the small side of my inequality, okay? Number 7, Mrs. Kelly had $20 to spend. We've got some information about orange juice costs and apple juice costs. Let's see, okay, X is my orange juice cost and Y is my apple juice cost. If you try and go directly to one of these problems, you are gonna get very, very confused, okay? This is one of those scenarios where you just gotta ignore your answer choices for a minute, and let's look at what I know from the problem. She has $20 to spend, okay? Orange juice is $3 per carton, so I'm gonna do $3 times everything of orange juice. Apple juice is $2 per carton, so $2 for everything of apple juice. And then it says the number of each ones that she can buy. Well, I know that if I add my orange juice cost plus my apple juice cost, she has $20 to spend, so she has to be less than or equal to $20. She could spend exactly 20, that's okay. All right, so $3 for every orange juice plus $2 for every apple juice has to be less than 20. Now all I have to do is rearrange these to get y by itself. So if I use my good equation skills, I'm going to minus 3x. That's going to cancel out. I get 2y is less than or equal to, I'm going to go ahead and put the negative 3x in the front, plus 20. Then I'm going to divide everything by 2. And I get less than or equal to, well, that doesn't really simplify. I'm just going to leave it as negative 3/2 x. And 20 over 2 becomes plus 10. So as I scan through, I'm looking at A for my answer. Okay? Number 8. Which of these graphs represents the solution set? Guys, if you're looking at graphs, go to y equals, okay? It's not hard to do by hand at all. I'm going to take x minus y is less than or equal to 0 minus x. So negative y is less than or equal to negative x. At this point, I'm going to view that as like a negative 1y. I'm going to divide by negative 1. Remember, when you divide by a negative, it's going to flip that symbol around. So y is greater than or equal to, and those two negatives are going to cancel out and give you a positive x. Okay, so if I want y is greater than or equal to positive x, well, mx plus b, my y-intercept is 0. All my answer choices have that. And my slope right here that's hidden is a positive 1. So it cannot be f or g. It's got to be h or j. And then I go back to, okay, well, I want all this stuff greater than my line. So that means above my line, I'm talking about h. Okay? That's it for part 1. Come back for the rest.